Welcome everybody to another session of Tech Woke Live. We got my partner in crime, Osasu. He's back on here. Hey man, he got
Partner
the
of justice.
that man. Oh, got the back screen looking like a Morris chestnut out here, man.
Hey man, like I say, this all AI back here.
Yeah, nah, man, that's my
AI
boy,
generated. Yes,
man.
sir. I hope everybody's doing well.
Yeah. If you're coming on to the live, remember just say something. Just say hi. How you doing? Say something in the chat. If you have any questions or concerns, just put it in. We're always gonna say something at any time. So just to introduce everybody to me, my name is Chris Akpada, Information System Security Officer. Worked in the GRC space for about 6 years. Founder of the Tech Woke podcast. And you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My name is Asasu Saji. I'm also Information System Security Officer. Started off as a cybersecurity engineer, and then basically transferred over to the RMF space, and it's been pretty good. Yep, that's me right there.
So yeah, I got you. Oh, so hey, things happen. A lot of people are in the job market right now.
Yeah.
People are in GovTech, cybersecurity, and a lot of people been dealing with a lot of stuff. And we have our own things. As I've been let go myself, so I've been kind of dabbling in the market too. And from what I've been learning from the market, man, the Security Plus ain't getting you no jobs no more, man.
It's not, not at all.
Man, why do you think so?
I think it's one of those. I don't want to say it's a cert that's obsolete, but it's a very baseline. Everybody at this juncture in their career, or as they've been interested in tech, should already know the first cert that you probably want to get is a Security Plus. See, like years ago, if we're talking about 2016, 2017, when you're talking about certs, it was like esoteric language, right? It was almost like you had your own little inner circle. It was like, yeah, you gotta go get that cert. Once you get that cert, then you can get this job. But now it's public knowledge, right? It's no longer something that you had to dig and find and to figure out. Everybody knows what the path is. So a lot of people have Security Pluses, whether they get it the right way or they find other means to get it, and sometimes the issues that some employers are having is they're getting certs like the Security Plus, but they don't necessarily possess the knowledge. And just a quick story, like I remember I told you, it was an old employee when I worked at General Dynamics. He had like probably 6 to 8 certs, right? You have 6 to 8 certs, but you only been in tech for like 3 years. Sometimes things just don't add up, but he got the job anyway. But how the issue is he couldn't perform the job, right? So if you had somebody like that, how many other people have they found to have all these certs, but yet they don't necessarily know how to fulfill the position? And that's kind of the issue that a lot of employers are running into, and that's why they're a little bit more hesitant to give you that offer letter.
Yeah, you remember back in the day we was at Bowie State. I think it was around the time when cyber was still like a kind of like the trying to get in the Illuminati.
Mm-hmm.
Back then you could have just got your Security Plus and you would have been good
for free.
Yeah, and they was giving it away at that point
for free. And it's funny, like people have told me about it. Some people was even telling me, hey, you can do this class where you can learn a programming language, and I think it was Python. And I'm working at CBS. I was at community college. I'm like, man, I don't care about no Python. I didn't even know what they was talking about. I said, I seen the movie Anaconda, but what you mean Python? Like it was foreign to me. But looking back, I'm like, man, like I don't never have regrets, but I really wish I was able to take that free course on how to learn a programming language.
Yeah, so me too. Like you said, Python, we thought was a snake back then. He was like, man, what you talking about?
I didn't know what they was talking about. But now I know. If you don't know, now you know.
so like with the Security Plus now, it's a requirement in the GovTech space, right? It's a requirement, right. But as you're seeing,
DoD mandate. Yep.
Yeah, it's a DoD mandate. But as you're seeing, like they see that you have it, but they like, nah, we ain't taking you no more. Even in the private sector, they see you have it, but sometimes they don't even care that you have it in the private sector.
Nah, they don't. Again, like they see it, and it's almost like a red flag, right? Because sometimes you'll see somebody with a little bit of experience, or maybe they have no experience. And I know a couple of people who have their Security Plus cert, but they're just being rejected by jobs because having a cert just isn't enough, right? You can come off as qualified, but employers want to make sure, can you actually do the work? And based on your resume, we find it that you cannot.
Yeah. So let me see. Jacqueline Alexander said, "Hello, how are you doing? Both today, doing today. How you doing? You know,
Hey,
again,
Jacqueline.
yeah. If you're on the live, just make sure you say something. Just say hi. You know, if you have a question or concern, say it. Like with this, with the issue with the Security Plus being a dime a dozen, like I said, anybody can get a certification right now. What would you do to go about kind of getting into space currently if you're trying to get into cyber or tech? Like, what are some things that you might try to do now?
Learn what's the now. And I know we talked about it last week in regards to AI, but when you think about it, right? I was reading an article that talked about how this 2026 graduating class is the first graduating class that throughout their higher learning had AI the whole entire way as a tool, right? Now, AI for them, it was a tool, and maybe they didn't necessarily align themselves with learning how to use the tools so they can be able to be a little bit more or better candidates when it comes to the hiring process, but others did. Now, if they already have this skill set, right, of knowing AI, already aligning themselves with AI, right, because they're already doing courses, not courses, but they're doing computer science, information science, and they even said that 2020 in 2022 they had about 112 students, 112,000 students who graduated in that degree compared to 2010 where it was only about 52,000, right? So they're gaining a lot of experience, they're gaining certs in college, but they're also learning AI because that is what's being taught. Now, security plus is awesome. It's good to have, and you should have it because, like we said, it's a DoD mandate. But you also have to keep in mind, especially when it comes to small businesses, they may want to hire you, but they also want to see, like, hey, are you, if especially if you're doing cyber, do you know about AI? Because we need to make sure that we're performing risk management when it comes to AI. Do you know AI governance? Do you know AI compliance? Because this is the now, and we can't talk about what was before. So trying to keep up with the trends, and I think that's kind of been a trend when it comes to this podcast, is what is it that I can do to make me a better candidate? But you got to figure out, what are these employers looking for? Once you figure that out, I think that just helps a lot.
Yeah, I agree with you. Jacqueline said, I'm in school for data analytics. I want to transition to a database administrator. Jacqueline, I think you're in a good space. Like as O was saying, you got to really understand what you're trying to do with data analytics. You know, data and AI are the one and the same. So you got to figure out a way to incorporate it to make yourself valuable in the space to get hired quickly. You know, especially with a lot of these companies that are hiring for AI. So what I would say, Jacqueline, you're doing great. Just make sure that you try to figure out some way you can incorporate your data, because even for people that's in the tech industry, people that's entrepreneurs, the biggest thing is data. Even if you can work on your own, work with other people to kind of help them with their AI system, interpret their data, show them new things, code something in. I mean, the sky's the limit with your degree. Just figure out a way to incorporate it.
I agree. And even to kind of piggyback off what you said, like AI, right? AI machine learning is very prominent right now. So I believe from an article that I saw, like 89% of job postings are in related to AI and machine learning type of jobs. So, I mean, I think that kind of falls in line with what she's pursuing.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that question we was talking about earlier, we're in a different market, you know, and I'm gonna just tell people straight up, like, you got to understand what's out here right now. Everybody's talking about AI right now. What a lot of people don't understand is about quantum computing. Like,
Yeah.
for example, you might not notice, but like in New Mexico, they have quantum technicians that you can go through a certification and get hired as a quantum technician. You know, that's another career people can go to, and you don't have to go through a full 4-year degree. Like, you literally just gotta just do a certification program just so you can start working on the technology.
Right. That's very job specific too. That's good.
Yeah, and then we're gonna get into some of the later careers, but also too in the GovTech space, you gotta adapt. Like, for example, if you're in a GRC or RMF space, you know AI is becoming prevalent. for a lot of people, they don't know IL7 is a new thing in the cloud environment when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to the cloud compliance process. So a lot of so NIST is adapting to AI. They have a partnership with a lot of AI companies. So what I would do if you're trying to make yourself valuable, like O said, just start learning how you can risk assess AI yourself and how you can, it's just research on what's going on. For example, containers. Look up
Right.
Gripe. Gripe. These a lot of these different softwares that you can look to kind of how do you evaluate containers. S bombs. S bombs are to manage the supply chain. A lot of the times people were just like using Excel sheet. Now you can just and just to figure out what software you have. Now you can use containers and get the supply chain with the S bombs to get all your inventory all at once. Learn that. Also with cloud compliance, make sure you know the cloud compliance process, especially in GRC. Make sure you understand cloud, like understand what's going on. There's a lot of going on with cloud compliance. Understand the cloud compliance process. Understand FedRAMP. You got to.
Mhm.
It's a new environment, especially, and then also too with in the GRC space. Learn how you can automate GRC. When I say
Mhm.
automate GRC, just try to figure out, hey, instead of a control, usually when we assess controls, make sure we're implemented, we have to get evidence. Make sure you see if you can find a way to automate that process so you don't have to manually keep going back to the engineer back and forth, back and forth. You can just do it all in one go. So that's another thing. GRC engineering, risk management engineering. That's another thing. So with the way the government is going, with the way the private sector is going, you got to really adapt. And if you're going to be the best of the best, you got to get on it before it becomes too stiff before you can get in. Like, you know, like for example, AI. Everybody wants to get in AI, but quantum is just around quantum is just around the door. So just make sure you get on that, and that's how you stay adapt in that space, and doing a lot of projects too. For example, I just want to give a lot of people in the audience that's watching, use LinkedIn to your best. Post your projects. LinkedIn
Yeah.
has an option where you can literally post the projects you worked on, post the projects you worked at your job, so you can hit a lot of those keywords so employers can find you. And then the last thing I would tell you, get that LinkedIn sales navigator, so you can reach out to a lot of these recruiters. Every day I go on LinkedIn, they're always posting jobs, but you got to read carefully what they're saying. Even in the GRC space, they always say, I saw a recruiter the other day said, no, we don't want no checkbox person. You
Yeah.
know, you don't
Yeah.
want no checkbox person. You want somebody that can actually, if I was a person, I want to make sure you can secure our system because we're going into a different phase. We saw Claude Mythos literally show all the vulnerabilities for a system. So that's some of the ways I would say to adapt. And so you can grow your career, you have to adapt because if you're stuck in it, you're not going to get a job. And that's what I've been seeing for myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing because we have progressed so much. You know, you can't be living in the Flintstone age of tech, you know, because even junior analyst jobs, a lot of that stuff is being automated. We talked about open claw, me and you personally, even like basic vulnerability scanning when it comes to ACAS, being able to look at scans and to analyze scans, AI can do it at a faster and even more efficient rate than any human can, and it can generate and produce reports, right? So when you think about those things, ask yourself, well, why do you need me? Right. And I think because we feel as though that we're still valuable to the company, but does the company feel that you're valuable to them? If they can use this particular tool that can help them save money. Compliance and documentation, like me and you have talked about it. A lot of these roles can be automated through AI. So even going back to what you said with GRC, right? Because we have to, if you're doing GRC, you have to be a GRC expert, right? So even if you're talking me in front of management or upper management, are you able to, on a high level, explain AI risk? Because that's what they want to know, right? So when it comes to those things, it's like, can you explain to me what is the risk of AI? Can you create a strategic plan, something that AI can't necessarily do because you're going to actually have that interface with leaders, upper management, in order for them to better secure their system. So being able to have that knowledge and okay, this is I see that we're using AI and these are some of the risks of AI. This is the plan that we're going to devise for it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Communication is the new currency now.
Mm,
If you can't explain what you're going to do, again, me and you have been working in the GRC space for years. You know, a lot of the times it gets to a point, okay, I understand this information. I don't got to explain it to nobody. But if you can't communicate what you're actually doing, they're not going to know what you're doing. They can kind of think you're incompetent. So communication, if you got to go to Toastmasters, even what I do, sometimes I just talk to AI to kind of practice my speech, practice how I'm interviewing, you know, kind of get pointers. You know, that's what I would recommend to people too. Just you got to really practice how you communicate, because if you can't communicate it, people won't understand, and people won't understand. I won't be convinced to hire you because you can be an expert, but they can view you as a junior.
Right.
You know, and then also I see Jacqueline say I'm currently transition. Like even with that, like even when you're transitioning, Jacqueline, I know you have a lot of skills with what you're doing in your current career. You just got to figure out how you're going to communicate that when you're trying to get into data analytics. What do you know? What how can you explain it to people so they can understand? And that's the real currency, because a lot of people are not don't really understand tech. And the people that do that, even when you work in the space, there's people in the space that don't understand what's going on in the tech space, and they want somebody that can make them not look crazy if they're not understanding what's going on. So, you know, so communication is currency, bro.
Nah, that's a valid point, Chris. I totally agree.
Okay. So like, let me just say, like, you know, when it comes to like hands-on projects, like, a lot of people keep talking to me about projects, you know, from what I think, like a lot of the times when you work in your current company, especially people with no experience, you have a lot of projects you did. You can put them on LinkedIn, you know, put those projects, put the skills you used. And I think you can use a lot of that stuff to transition. But what do you think about projects? I know we done projects before to get into cyber, but now they really want to understand that you understand things. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, because I think all of that is part of building your portfolio. So adding projects to your portfolio is important too, because a resume is obviously the baseline, right? It has a lot of jobs that you've done, some of the skills and things like that. But I do believe that there needs to be room added to, okay, what are certain projects that you have actually done and accomplished, right? Because that stuff translates into the job that you're potentially trying to get into. So employers don't see that, you know, they may kind of just put you in the pool of other candidates, but it doesn't separate you. And I think that's what we have to think about is like, okay, am I adding projects? What are some of the things that I'm working on to make me a more valuable and prestigious candidate that's going to separate me from the rest or separate me from the others? Because they're kind of clumping everybody into one group. But if they don't see that there's a particular candidate that I think, okay, they can really do what we're asking to do, I mean, a lot of employers are going to bypass you. So I do agree that projects are very important. I know people that have done side projects, and they probably add that to their LinkedIn, add that to their portfolio. So I think that's very important.
Yeah, I think it's important too. If I was a person looking to hire somebody, if somebody didn't have any experience, I want to see like what did they actually do. Again, what do you have on your GitHub? What are you posting on your LinkedIn projects wise? For people that's trying to get into the GRC space, just try to create documentation, create a SSP, create an access control policy. Show me an example of how to test the control, and be consistently posting about what you're doing. Because like for myself, if I'm always posting about something, you know, and it's going to be highly likely that people think I'm an authority in the space or think I know what I'm doing. So eventually you're going to attract somebody that's actually trying to hire you or may give you an opportunity. So just post like projects, and I'm just talking particularly for the GRC space, creating documentation, testing controls. You can create an Excel sheet, even just networking with people and just posting those projects. You also can download Stig, so for cyber.mil, cyber exchange, I'm sorry, just to show that you can communicate how you know how to do these things. For people that's like in cloud engineering, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of projects in the cloud space you can do. You know, you can show how you can show how to test a system, configure a system. Just show little things that you can learn on Udemy and just record it. I would just tell people record it. Talk about what you did. Matter of fact, just talk about your journey of what you're doing and show what you're doing ahead of time. Like if you're going to events, if you're doing it. I've seen so many people on LinkedIn that didn't have experience. They've been posting so much that eventually they'll get an opportunity or get connected to the people that can get an opportunity. I've seen photographers. I've seen this guy. He was a photographer. Shout out to AJ Young. He's a great dude. He was taking photos for AJ on, and then I seen him, and he's actually in GRC now because he was just around the right people. He did the right things, and he did a lot of projects of what he was doing. So yeah, it's undeniable. So just make sure if y'all watching, just make sure y'all do that. And then also too, if you're on this live, just make sure you say something. Say, hey, how you doing? Have a question, say something, like the video, and just share it. So because we're on live, so just shout out what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a good point, Chris. I mean, information is key, surrounding yourself with the right people, because I've always been told, if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And I think I think it's important for you to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, that's probably a little bit more accomplished than you, because there's so much information that you can glean from them, right? So you can learn GRC by just networking with people who's already in that space, or going to these different events. I mean, you have even told me that, like, hey, Hope, we got to go to these events because the amount of rich information that we can actually take in, because that stuff is valuable, it's rich, it helps us, especially in our own careers, even as we're talking about GRC.
Yeah, like you told me, like you've been in the room with some people I've met on the podcast or whatever. You like, man, this dude dope. So even me, I'd be like, and I'd be learning from them. I know about stuff that is going to happen almost 5 years ahead of time talking to them.
Yeah. So that's very true.
So, what do you think about branding now? Like in this cybersecurity space, what do you think about like branding yourself, like having a personal brand? From your experience, like just kind of networking and stuff, do you think having a personal brand is where you need to go, or just networking probably, like you don't have to make yourself known as much no more?
Well, I think branding is good. I don't know if it's the end all be all, but I do think that being your own personal brand, again, is one of those things that just separates you. It kind of makes you a little bit more distinct from the next person who probably just has a good resume, who's probably really good at his job. But if you don't necessarily have your own brand, then you don't necessarily stick out. For example, you have a great brand. A lot of people can come to you, reach out to you. Employers, and we don't think about it, employers look at LinkedIn. Employers may even be looking at your social media, but we don't think that it has changed to that point where employers are actually looking at your social media to get a better understanding of who you are. Because we can communicate certain things to employers, but it's like, well, let me actually look at your LinkedIn. And that's one of the reasons why I was like, you know what? I need to update my LinkedIn. So even everything that I'm speaking and I'm saying, it sounds good, but they can see that, okay, even based on his page, based on his own brand, I think this is somebody that we want to basically align ourselves with. So branding, I think, is good. I think a lot of people should think about that a little bit more. I know not everybody has the personality for it to brand themselves or to be the brand, but I think it's something that can definitely help you progress in this space.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I think when not just only LinkedIn is where you should have a brand. I think employers look at all your social media. Like if you got your name on something, I'm pretty sure they're gonna Google your name. So like a lot of men I see, like you'll go on Instagram and you'll just post like you drinking or doing something crazy or doing something wild. You don't think nobody else can do the same thing and Google you? So I think in my opinion, it just entitles everything, like your Instagram, unless you make it private, your Instagram, your Facebook, everything should be your brand. And with LinkedIn, I think you should post a lot of stuff that you can do, because we're living in a different age and time. If you lose your job, you can be the best at what you do. But if somebody can't come back to you and be like, okay, yeah, I can see what you do, what you influence, what events you're going to. LinkedIn is a place where I can go and see where everybody's going. People can see that I've been to this conference, been to that. So it shows that you're taking it seriously. So I think everybody should just think about building a brand. And again, everybody doesn't want to do it because they're nervous or scared or things like that. But just keep in mind, you don't have to be a fan of everybody. Everybody got some fans. I seen the most weirdest people have followings. I seen some crazy followings. Even people have some great followings. It's just people adapt to who they good. Like you and me, sometimes I can be awkward or be a little strange. It's okay, I accept it. But I still got friends. I still got to follow him. Everybody not gonna get with me, but we all have our people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, everybody has a following. You may have a cult following. You may have a more popular following just because of who you are and how you carry yourself. But I think when you make the effort to try to brand yourself, I mean, people are going to follow you, especially if you're talking about something that's helpful to your audience, right? Because it's very easy to have an audience, right? Because obviously you have shared interests. But if you're on LinkedIn, social media, on Instagram, Facebook, these different social media platforms, but you leverage it to say, I'm going to build my brand as opposed to use it for, frivolous things or whatever. I think that's going to benefit you. And then when you get invited to these networking opportunities, you don't think the people that's on LinkedIn are going to be there. Employers on LinkedIn is going to be there. You just never know who's in that room.
No, I got you. And it just goes to a lot. Like some people I know, like they be looking for a job for years. But if you like follow those steps, like all these steps we just talked about, like that will lead to you finding a job, like at some point. You know what I'm saying?
Some point. No guarantees, but at some point it will.
Yeah, man. So anybody have any questions on that? Anybody have any questions, concerns?
Talk to us. Don't be shy.
Yeah, just write something. And if you're watching, remember, like the video, always share the video, and just say something. So we're gonna go to the next topic. Mm-hmm. So the next topic is the tech jobs nobody talks about. We did some research on our side that there's a lot of jobs outside of cybersecurity. To be honest with you, cybersecurity is really it's crowded right now. So there's other ways you can go get about getting into the tech role. So we got some resources. You want to go first? Oh,
absolutely. So one of the jobs that I saw was like cloud security engineers. Now we know about these jobs, but I think kind of like last week we talked about how even when it comes to like the FedRAMP process, they're thinking of ways of adding the AI layer to it, right? Because obviously a lot of AI tools are embedded into the cloud environments, right? So you have Azure, you have AWS and more. So they are looking for people, cloud engineers who already have that experience, but are specialized when it comes to AI. And then you also have red teamers, and we understand what red teamers are, right? Pen testing and things like that. But it's not just about hacking a particular network, but it's more about, okay, like, are you able to hack AI? You know what I'm saying? Are you able to understand AI to the point that you can jailbreak it, break into it, and things of that nature? And then obviously you have GRC, and I mentioned it earlier, they're looking for GRC experts, right? But particularly when it comes to AI governance and compliance, because again, AI is the hot topic today. So those are some of the jobs that I've seen and I've looked at. But what have you seen, Chris, on your end?
Yeah, I agree with you. AI pen testers. That's a big one. That's a whole different beast right there. You also mentioned GRC analysts, AI. That's obviously one. So I agree with you. Those are some big roles that can provide a lot of money in the future, especially if you get on it now. I got a couple ones that I'd looked up to. The first one I'm going to say is data center technician. So the reason why I said this one, you hear me? That's a good one, right?
That's a real good one.
Somebody sent me a email about a data center technician. I was like, oh, they actually looking for people to do data center technicians.
What was is the pay scale a little lower than normal? Because it's almost like a hardware technician.
Yeah, it's a little lower, but it's an opportunity for somebody.
Right. It's an opportunity for a lot of people because, and I know you're about to give your whole spiel of some of the jobs or hidden jobs, but
that's cool.
When I worked at General Dynamics, to me, I think the best job in the environment. I mean, you had network engineers, you had Windows admins, you had Linux admins, and things like that. But the hardware techs knew the entire system from front to back. I mean, any question that I had, they was able to explain it to me. And the thing is, and what was great about General Dynamics is people who started off as hardware techs, most of those guys were the Linux admins, the Windows admins, They were the network engineers, right? The programmers. They all started off as hardware techs because that's how you're able to understand the system. So just imagine being a technician at a data center or AI data center. I mean, the amount of knowledge and information that you can learn, that will put you in a very sweet spot when it comes to wanting to pivot and, seeing where your career can go off to.
No, I agree. Like hardware, just understand the hardware, and that can slowly grow you to another position. Like
Yes,
you'd be more of a killer.
yes, man. That's a good call out, Chris. I like that.
Yeah. So for the data center, now we was talking about it with the growth of AI, it's creating a massive infrastructure and demand for those technicians. Networking support, server support, hardware support. Expansions with AWS, Google, and Microsoft. It's going to be a lot of data centers. So for a lot of people, just make sure you keep that career in your head in case you want to do it. And then, hey, Lord willing, if I have to do it, I'll do it myself too to get in that space too.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing that's being more popular too, is a fiber optic technician.
Mm-hmm.
So with these data centers and everything going on, you got to have like the technicians with the fiber optic cables and things like that. So for that, it's going to help with a lot of internet and cloud infrastructure careers, hands-on tech work that works from. It's a lot of work that people ignore, and it's a growing demand throughout everything. So just make sure you look into that too. There might be another entry point in case you're trying to get into cyber or anything else, and you just want to find an entry point. So another thing is AI governance and compliance. Again, AI. A lot of people say AI is going to take a lot of jobs, but it can create some jobs too because it has so many risks that is involved with it.
Framework.
Got that AI NIST, what's it, AI NIST framework?
Yes, sir.
So with the AI governance framework, you got AI management, you got policies, you got a lot of compliance for these systems. So whoever figures out a way to put it all together, that's going to be another career. And it can also make a lot of money on the back end too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then we talked about cloud compliance, especially in the government space. There's going to be a lot of cloud compliance specialists, a lot of people that's trying to get in the cloud. So if you're trying to get in the cloud, that's another role. You're always going to have a job if you are expert at what you do in the cloud.
Trying to get something fair, right, approved.
Yeah,
that's a good deal right there.
And then we also have quantum computing ecosystem roles. So for example, like with quantum computing, you're going to have to build it, put it together, cooling systems, hardware technicians. Security and compliance, that's going to be a big role. So just make sure you got that. I know probably like, I might do that myself.
Man, I every time I hear quantum computing, like I start smiling from ear to ear. It's such a hot topic, and I did a little bit of research on it. It's a bit complicated, but yeah, that's the next big thing that we definitely need to be tapping into.
Yeah, and then another thing is critical infrastructure for cybersecurity, power grids, transportation, water systems. That's going to, especially water systems, water is going to be needed to cool down and figure that stuff out. So for critical infrastructure, so you don't keep that in mind. Then lastly, a lot of people say this, but RMF, GRC, a lot of these roles are always going to be there. No matter what people says, compliance is always going to be there. So just make sure you can try to get into compliance also. It's getting a little bit mid-level with the compliance space, but if you always have an opportunity in transition, you're always going to have a job too. And that's all I have. What you think about those, though? It was a fire.
I think those are good. I mean, basically, a lot of those are tech positions, so you got to get your hands dirty. But I think that's good. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I think that's good because again, it's helping you start from the ground level up when it comes to learning AI, right? And even just where tech is today. And I think if you're starting off as a technician, right, at an AI data center, I think that's beneficial because why wouldn't you want to start a position like that where you have to learn the hardware first before you even get into anything else? Because learning that is going to help you gain better knowledge and information about the system altogether. And again, I told you, like, I've seen it where a lot of the hardware techs, man, they knew the system from front to back, in and out. It was absolutely insane the amount of knowledge that they had. And even like you said, the other jobs that you mentioned, the quantum computing ecosystem roles, like those are pretty good as well, just because that's also something that's coming down the pipeline. The cloud compliance position, I think that's really good as well, because cloud and AI really go hand in hand. But I think those are pretty good roles. But I think the gist of all the roles that you mentioned today is dealing with technician jobs. And here's the thing, right? I know a lot of people may not want to start off as a hardware tech, right? And I think sometimes we got to lower our pride and say, what is the best? And you said earlier, what's the best entry point? It may not be what you necessarily want to do as a career, but just for me to get my foot in the door, is this the job that I can do, or is this the job that's going to help me do that?
Yeah, and I'm not. Now I'm listening to you talking about it. It's like it's like. Do you think that people look upon these roles in a bad way? Do you think just getting an entry level, people just want to go to the whole shebang? Even when we was getting the space, people just want to get in the whole shebang. We just like we're gonna make 100K, but
Right.
like we both know once you make that 100K, man, they're expecting 100K worth of work.
There you go. And here's the thing, right? Entry level jobs are about to be obsolete. I mean, just because AI can do those entry level jobs, so a lot of, especially small businesses, right? Because the thing about big businesses is they're far beyond that. Like, they're not really looking. Even if you come in with an entry level position, they're expecting mid level work. That's just what the market is saying. But for the small businesses, they are looking for these entry level roles, but they are expecting you to still have some understanding of AI, or you're able to kind of hit the ground running. But I do think they frown upon, these technician type of jobs. Like, even when you hear it, it's like, why would I want to work in a AI data center? And the hours ain't 8 to 5. You probably working overnight. You probably working long hours. So, not too many people are keen on wanting to do those type of roles. But you got to say to yourself, hey, I may not like it. It may not necessarily be appealing to me, but if I do this role, does it get my foot through the door? And here's the thing: if you always taught me this, you have to have a plan, right? You have to plan out, hey, this is how long I want to do this job, and I have my roadmap in regards to, okay, I want to do this, and then I want to jump into this role, and then I want to jump into that role. Sometimes what happened, and I'm a victim of, well, not a victim, but I'm one of those who have done this, is you get into a role and you stay in a role longer than you should. And then sometimes God is like, hey, you've been in this role for about 2-3 years. It's either you got to go, or I'm going to make sure that they cut you so you can go. And it happens like that. So it's always update your skills, always, have a plan as to, okay, this is how long I want to be here. And then I'm moving on to the next. Because at the end of the day, what is your plan? When it's all said and done, what's at the end of that road?
Yeah, and I agree with you. The harsh reality of tech right now is tech is getting oversaturated in a lot of positions, and it's a lot of layoffs, especially with the big tech companies. And it's a lot going on where people trying to get money and things. AI is automating a lot of the entry level roles now. So you got to really do a little bit more to get the money that you're trying to get and making sure you're valuable. A lot of people say, oh, yeah, you just want to do your job 9 to 5 and go home. But you got to really invest in your career right now to kind of get into space and just maintain your career. And, because, I hear this all the time. I'm like, I think being a teacher is kind of a little bit better than being in tech right now, because at least they secure. They're not worried about layoffs. They got a secure job, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have a labor union and everything. So they're pretty much protected at this point. And, we we talked about job security. You also want to look for like AI proof jobs, because you got to think about it. Like, a lot of jobs are going to get dominated by AI. So you got to ask yourself, do you have an AI proof job? Because if you don't, then you need to start thinking about what job can I do that is AI proof. And that's why, you talked about trade jobs, because I would even encourage more people coming out of high school, even college, to think about trade.
Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, even with that, like, tech is getting to a different place. You want to make sure that you always have things in place just in case something happens. And like we were talking about, to be honest with you, electricians, all these jobs, they better start making probably more than tech at some point.
Yeah. There's actually, I think I looked at a report. It's like a 78% increase in trade jobs. I think in the last 2 years.
Yeah, welders, electricians, plumbers. I mean, you can't really replace that. You're still gonna need a plumber
Right.
no matter what. That's a skill.
Right. But we ain't telling nobody to give up on hope in tech. I know this the Tech Woke podcast. We be just saying, sometimes you need I don't want to say a backup plan, but just in case plan.
No, we just talk about the harsh reality of things.
No,
I
it
mean,
is. Yeah.
tech is always going to be a way to get in. We just telling the harsh reality. Always have something to back up in case something happens, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, life happens.
So, if anybody's watching, say if you got anything on your mind. How do you feel about the tech market? Is it a harsh market? How is y'all experiences getting into tech? If you have anything, just put it in the chat. We're gonna put it up on here. Yeah. And all. Yeah. So when it comes to, and then also too, man, it's like with tech, it's like it's good, but I think you should work to other things to build your career, like more certifications, just having a little side hustle. And I think that's kind of the harsh reality. Did you have anything else on that?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, I do think, because oftentimes what happens, and I kind of alluded to this, right? You got kids who are coming out of college. They have a little bit of experience because they have hands-on training. Like I said, they've already been aligning themselves with AI. They've been using AI. Hopefully, AI hasn't been a crutch, but it's something that's native to their skill set. And they're coming out of college with all these skills, and they have certs. So a lot of companies, they want the cheaper route. And if there's a young person that they can hire who's malleable, they can mold, they can groom and on all those things, then that's typically what they want to go for. But what happens is you have people who's been in space for 5-7 years and they haven't really done the upkeep, right? So it's almost like you have a home and you have a pretty nice home, but the thing is, from the outside, it looks nice. But when you look inside, you haven't really made any updates. I remember seeing a video and somebody said, "Oh, you still got the white refrigerator?" And I thought to myself, I ain't seen a white refrigerator in a long time. So sometimes you gotta update. You gotta make these updates because people are looking at these things and they say, "Well, I don't know if I want to come to your home. You got a white refrigerator. I can't trust the food you cooking in there." So I think it's important for us to make sure that we're not being outbeat by the young lion. All right. And just continuing to just update our skills. And you tell me this, Chris, all the time. You got to update your resume, update your skills. Tech is constantly evolving.
Yeah. And I also would tell people, man, be open to location matters. So especially being in the tech space now, it's getting to a point where everybody's in the DMV. Sad to say, a lot of people are trying to get into the tech and the DMV spaces. You got to be open to moving to other places that have tech, to a North Carolina's, to a Atlanta's, to a Colorado, different areas that have opportunities for tech. And you got to be really adaptable. You can't be saying, "Okay, I'm gonna stay here."
Yeah, that's true. Jacqueline just made a good point. She said also, I think it's all about location with some tech careers. So you made a good point. I think people are so grounded here in the DMV that they don't necessarily feel as though they can venture out. We have a friend who went to a different state to find a tech job, and then she's doing pretty well. So, sometimes you got to spread your wings and pack your bags. I know everybody's very local, but there's as many of opportunities elsewhere.
Yeah. Shaquille, she said, it's rough out here for your entry level workers. Yeah, it's hard. It's rough. There is no more entry. It's no entry level roles.
Hard out here for a pimp, man. It ain't easy.
There's no more entry. I don't care what they put on your resume. You're a senior at whatever you do. You got to figure it out. You got to really move like you in that space now. You got to consume the knowledge, do the projects, but you got to move like you're not an entry level because it's very hard for somebody to train you in a position. They don't have time to be honest with you. A lot of people don't have time.
They don't. That's so funny. Because people have come into our positions and we both looked at each other like, I ain't got too much time to train this person.
And most I can do is make a video, put some stuff together, but I don't have time because we got to move fast.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of employers tell me too, we moving. It's about money. It's all this stuff going on. So I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Jacqueline said, I'm in Dallas, Fort Worth. Yeah, I'm open to moving to anything. Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, anywhere that's
Good
opportunity to
location.
get tech. Dallas is a nice place too. Dallas is nice.
Dallas, Austin, Texas. Those are definitely good locations for tech opportunities.
Yeah, so just you got to be open to move. And me, I work with a lot of people in the RMF space, trying to help them, give them training to get them the RMF and GRC space. And a lot of the times when I talk to people, like they're like, "Well, I want to stay here." I'm like, "Well, you ain't gonna find no job out there." Like, they want to stay out of Florida's or uh, sometimes even LA. It's hard to get a job in LA. It's competitive. Like it's really
Yeah,
Silicon Valley's good, but it's competitive. That's a whole different space. You got to move a whole different way to get in that space.
I think sometimes people just want to go to LA just to live in LA.
LA is nice.
Yeah.
And then also too is you're gonna get burnt out a lot in the space too, man. Like a lot of people think you get into tech. Some people go watch TikTok or YouTube, and they said these people on the beach, man. It's not how it works. You're not about to be on the beach with you might do that on your vacation, but it's not gonna work like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's the old saying, you can't believe everything on social media.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, people show these things and they're showing you their lifestyle, which is true, but you don't know how tired that person is. They tired. That's probably why they at the beach, because they are tired. The job that they're doing. So they're finally getting their vacation. So I think people got to keep that in mind. It's not as easy as being presented to be on social media.
Yeah, and to the audience, we're only talking about the harsh reality. We're at the harsh realities. We're just kind of talking about some things you want to be aware of, like because he said they had the beach because they tired.
Yeah, she said. Jacqueline said, "I remember the years ago that Silicon Valley was hot." Yeah, that's true. Everybody want to go to. I mean, you got to be the top dog to go to Silicon Valley. All the big tech giants is out there.
Yeah, yeah. Silicon Valley, hey, it's still hot, but it's a lot. You're
Still
gonna be
hot.
burnt out working in that space. I will say, from the people I know and interviewed, working in that space is a good opportunity, but it's gonna change you to a whole different person. It will take you to another person.
Yeah, because
Go ahead. Oh, my bad.
no, I was just gonna say like that's true, because you got places like Google, they got pause in there. And when you first hear this, that sounds great. And I was like, why they got pause in there? Because they working you. You ain't going home. You gonna go ahead and sleep for maybe an hour or two, then you going right back to work.
Say, man, you about to be in there all night, man. You ain't
All
going home.
all night.
Sequel says she's out in North Carolina. I forgot the part in North Carolina, but there is a tech hub out in North Carolina. I forgot the area.
Isn't it what's it, the Raleigh, right?
Nah, it's not Raleigh. It's I forgot the name. That was another option I had in my head too, going out North Carolina, but I forgot the name. There is a tech hub out there. Yeah, but yeah, they tired, man. And also too, like, what are like realistically, like, to the audience, like, what are some realistic salary expectations for people? Like, people think they about to make 100K in this tech space now, like off the break. What's your thoughts?
You said 100K is 100K worth of work.
Yeah,
I think it depends. Like I've always said, entry level is probably 60 to maybe 75,000. Now for mid level, you're looking at maybe 75 to 105, and then anything above that, like more the high level senior positions, that's like 120 and up. But I mean, for those senior positions, they're expecting so much. So the money is there. You can negotiate, and you even taught me this. They can pay you more. They just choose not to, because they have a well of money that they can offer to anybody that's going to be part of the job. But I kind of always said that was the bracket, like 60 to 75 for entry level, maybe like 80, 75 to like 105 for mid-level, and then about 120 and up for any senior level position, But a lot of people think that once you get into tech, you're already going to get a six-figure salary. That's not the case. None of us started with a six-figure salary. So you got to be willing. Yeah, none of us did. We was glad when we actually hit six figures. Took a year or two, but you don't start off with that amount of money.
Yeah, because for me, I wasn't making nowhere near six figures. And again, like I've interviewed people that have hired people. I've interviewed this one guy. He told me hey, we hired somebody for $1 million package. Well, we both know he gonna be working that $1 million package off. You
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I hear Jacqueline say that entry level is about 57, mid is 80K, senior level is 120K. That sounds about right.
Yeah, it's about right. Hey, that's the reality.
Yeah.
50, 80, 100.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
That's about it. I mean, and I think this needs to be broadcast more. I don't know where people are getting this false reality about how much you get paid going into IT. Do you really think an employer is going to pay you 100K for an entry level position, no experience, or even just a little bit of experience? They're not doing that.
hey, oh, you get fired in like every 2 months. Cause we've been there. We both been in situations where they hire somebody and they paid them a lot and they were out within 2 to 3 months. We seen it.
Yeah. I've seen it personally. So it's not a game. If they hire you for anything mid level, and trust me, you got to make sure you know what you're doing.
You better be in them trenches. I'm telling you. Yeah, because like I think she said, Jacqueline, she said, when I say here out, I mean Dallas, I'll say over here in the DMV area, entry level is probably 75K to 80K.
Actually, yeah, about now it is. That's about right. That's
I
about
say
right.
mid is like pushing at 100, 120. And I think anything above 120 is like senior, like that. And like I said, when you get those senior roles, man, you got to know your stuff like the back. They have to need you. I mean, they have to come have meetings with you.
Right,
Like
right. But
that's a lot of money, man.
the certs kind of help with the negotiation terms. So having certs help, but also too, it's like I had an interview and it was asking me particular questions, and it was like it's a typical ISO role, but the questions they're asking me is like, we expect you to be senior level in the way that you're thinking, so they're not just expecting somebody, like you said, to just check off the list. They're not looking for people to check just to hit the check boxes and that's it, because they got other tools for that. So they're really expecting you to be able to perform the job at a high level. So they want you to think at a senior level as well, because they're paying you all this money, but they can't pay you the money if you just you don't fit the bill, or you don't have the knowledge or the capabilities of fulfilling the role. Those days are over, because a lot of people used to get into these roles and they didn't necessarily have that much experience, but it's definitely has changed nowadays.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's changed, man. Like, and then one thing I just want to let you know is just a lot of layoffs too. Just keep that in mind. Like, it's a lot of layoffs. Even if they do let you go, it's not because sometimes we can work. It's just literally just laying people off.
Yeah.
Like it's at the end of the day, tech is a business. It's a business. It's an important business. Again, working in this space, you have to secure these systems to make sure that they're protected. If you're in a government space, you got to make sure that you're securing these systems that are war fighters, things like that. But you got to make sure that you're doing your part on your side, because they want you to think a different type of way. And again, if you're moving in this space now, there's a lot of things that's been removed, and you got to really be on point.
Especially when you're thinking about it, right? Like, us going through this war and everything, and we was working for the Department of War essentially because we was at this, but you got to think about it. There was mandates and orders being sent out frequently. So it was vital for us to have that knowledge and understanding. So you can't be left behind when it comes to that.
Hey, hello, Maurice. How you doing? Hello, he said hello, everyone.
What's up, Maurice?
And then we have Jacqueline. She said, I know some people that were Oracle and so unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that for everybody that was let go from Oracle. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
That's the market, unfortunately.
I pray for all of them in that situation. So we're gonna slowly close it out now. So for everybody that's watched this live, what is like some things you want to let them know about the future of tech and tech careers, and anything you just want to let them know?
So I guess to kind of just close things off, for everybody, I think the most important thing is look for the hidden positions that are out there. Not the hot positions. There are a lot of hot positions that you're probably already familiar with, but what are some of the positions that people are not talking about, but employers are pushing? Because these are their roles and jobs that employers are pushing, but a lot of people aren't necessarily talking about it. And even if you don't necessarily have the qualifications for the roles, why not look into the roles, look at the job description and see, okay, how can I make myself qualified? So I think it's really trying to be analytical when it comes to the market. See what jobs employers are looking for, roles that employers are looking for. And I think that puts you in the best possible position for you to land a job. Because a lot of the positions that we are accustomed to knowing that are normally hiring or people are getting into, they're not as prominent. They're not hiring as much as they used to. So it's important that we're keeping up with what's going on right now. AI prompting, I agree. AI prompting is also good. Being able to essentially be an AI engineer, I think that's all helpful because that's what people just want to have knowledge of AI.
Yeah, I don't know about AI prompt engineering. So I was doing some research on prompt engineering. I watched this guy, he got a job with OpenAI just doing practicing and learning prompt engineering, but this was like years ago. But when they first started, I'm not necessarily sure if prompt engineering can help you still get a role. I'm not sure. Maybe you can learn it. I'm not 100% sure. I would think you can use it to for your own business to help government. You could do a lot of training to government organizations, things like that. I do think they have some roles for it. I don't think it's as prominent in my opinion because we're going to a different age where you can just literally ask AI like you can literally ask AI how do I get this certain prompt now. So it's like I don't know. I don't really know on that one. I'm a little
I
iffy on that.
mean, do you think that was more beneficial during the early stages of AI?
Yeah, because I think in the early stages of AI, I don't think they knew. Because when I was watching this guy's, he was a prompt engineer. I don't think at the time they knew the full capabilities of their own software. So I think they had it to kind of like bring out the full potential. And I really don't know. I don't really know now if they really know the full potential of the software. So I don't know. I'm a little 50-50 on that. I don't know.
I see. Yeah, I do have I kind of see what you mean.
Yeah. Oh, you still going with that? Did I cut you off?
No, yeah, that's my only thing, and also to the lastly, just continue to trust God. Continue to don't give up hope. Don't grow weary, anything like that. I think we're seeing the market, like the young lady talked about how Oracle they let go of a lot of people. Other employers are doing the same thing. So the market is kind of going through this phase, right, where people are losing jobs. It's not as stable as it used to be. But I think the essential thing is to continue to keep your foot planted and continue to apply for jobs, seek jobs, understand and analyze the market and see what employers are looking for. But the biggest thing is that I would say trust God and don't lose hope and just keep pushing.
Yeah, I would agree. For people that's watching, just make sure you say something. But what I would tell anybody is like, it's going to be a hard space. It's going to be a lot of hard work to get into this space, and it's going to be well worth it. Just make sure that you can, like Bruce Lee said, you got to become water. You
Like
got to
water.
become like water. You adapt to any situation. I'm a big fighter move. I like fights. I like Dragon Ball Z and that stuff. So you got to become like water in this environment. I will also tell you for anybody that just don't do it alone. There's communities out here. Make sure you find like a good 2 or 3 friends that's trying to do what you're trying to do. Make a group chat. Motivate you. Me and O back in the day, we motivated each other to get our security plus. So just make sure you find somebody. And then also what we talked about AI, cloud. We talked about fiber optics, data center engineer, all these different positions. Just make sure you look into it and look and see if you can get into these roles that are a little bit out the way, but you can get into. So that's my final thoughts on that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Can you tell the audience where they can find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Asaso Saji, and I'll try to. Well, do me a favor, because you can drop my LinkedIn in the chat. You can find me on LinkedIn, find me on Facebook at Asaso Saji. Probably not IG, but you can definitely find me on LinkedIn and Facebook. And then Chris will drop the LinkedIn link for you all, so y'all can follow me there.
Oh, say you ain't gonna find me.
I think we'll stay away from the IG. Nothing bad. It's just, you know, for you guys to just kind of get information and stuff like that. Things that's going to help you all in your careers. Definitely follow me on LinkedIn and Facebook.
Yeah, and to everybody too, like if you're gonna follow me on LinkedIn, Tech Woke, YouTube channel. Follow me on TikTok, Tech Woke. And also I'm gonna put in the chat if you need some information on learning risk management or getting hands-on experience. I'm always gonna advertise myself. Check out RMF Academy. We have a new emulator to help go through the GRC process so you can understand what the actual job is, get scenarios, and get interview help, questions, and things like that. If that's what's adapting to the new environment. So do you want to just pray us out? And if anybody's in the audience that want to pray with us, just pray with us.
Yes, sir. Heavenly Father, we just thank you, Lord, for this opportunity, Lord, to discuss tech on the Tech Book podcast. We thank you for everybody that was able to join and everybody that wasn't able to join but wanted to, Lord. We just pray that you just continue to keep everyone, bless everyone, Lord. And we just ask, Lord, that you just bring us here for the next opportunity for the next episode of Tech Book. So we thank you and we love you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen, amen, amen. So thank you, O. God bless everybody. I hope y'all took this information. Y'all have a good night. And peace out, everybody.